So I did this earlier, and I thought I would do it again because this is an easy way to make a video without having to do a bunch of editing or anything. So that's why I'm gonna just do this right now. Um, okay, so I'm going to talk about this book, Relentless by Tim S. Grover. Now, in my previous live stream that I just did, where it was just kind of random, I talked about this book a little bit. But this time, I want to go into a little more depth. Now, Tim Grover trained Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was his first client, actually. Now, this guy was more than a personal trainer. He was there night and day. If Michael Jordan wanted to train at 3 a.m., Tim Grover was there. Uh, Also, Tim Grover took Michael Jordan from great to even greater. Now, how do you do that? But I don't know. But he did it, and he talks about these things in the book. But yeah, I mean, that's a challenge. Taking someone like Michael Jordan and making him even greater. It'd be like taking Michael Jackson when he was around. Yeah, I mean, he's so talented and everything, but taking that greatness and make it even better, like the dancing and the singing and everything else. So anyway, this book is one of my favorite motivational books, I guess you could call it, um, because this guy doesn't sugarcoat anything. He is direct. He is in your face. It's as if he is your trainer. Now, he talks a lot about Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, and there was another guy named Dwayne. Now, I'm not big on basketball, but I like what he had to say in this book. Um, for instance, it starts like this. Um, he says that, let me see, where are they going to start that? All right, let me see here. Like he says, don't think, just do. Like your instincts matter. And you need to be there physically, but you also need to be there mentally. And he talks a lot about that too. Uh, the mental strength it takes to succeed. And in the book, he says there are three categories of people. There's the close. I'd say I think it's the what is it? Darn it! This is unedited, so I can't stop the video and go back and edit all this out. What does he say? Closer than the. Let's see. There's a. What is it? Anyway, I am not prepared. Oh, coolers, closers, and cleaners. Cleaners are the ones who are unstoppable. The coolers are just good with how things are. They're good at what they do, and they're fine with how things are. Closers are great. But cleaners are unstoppable, and that's what Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant are cleaners. And so that's the highest point you can go. Now, a lot of people are comfortable being coolers and closers, and there are plenty. But the cleaners are at the top. They're the very few. They're the Michael Jordans and the Kobe Bryants, or the Michael Jacksons and whoever else. So those are the cleaners. Now, as you can tell, I haven't planned this out. I just have the book right here in front of me, and I don't think anybody's watching anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I'm really just making a video, but it's just not going to be edited. So he says he talks a lot about being who you are. Know yourself. He says in order to have what you really want, you must first be who you really are. And that's along with your dark side. You know, he doesn't want you to deny your dark side. You hear snoring, that's a dog. Anyway, he says you make every possible move to put yourself where you need to be. So whatever it takes. I mean, as long as it's legal, I assume. I mean, it depends on what field you're in. I don't know, but so you want to know yourself, and you want to put yourself in a position where you have absolute faith in yourself, absolute strength, power, mentally, physically, and you go out and do it. You don't think about doing it. You just do it. You see? Use your instincts, your gut reaction. He says, being relentless means never being satisfied. So a guy like Michael Jordan was not satisfied with winning one ring. He had to have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know how many he won overall, but I do know it was 6 or more. Being relentless means never being satisfied. And it means creating new goals every time you reach your personal best. So let's say you're doing a workout, you do 100 push-ups. Maybe next workout, try to do 110. You know, I do this. I do, let's say, I did start off doing 150 push-ups every other workout, I think it was. Now I do 160, but I added couple extra push-up days, so I do an extra 50. So overall, I think I do close to about 400 push-ups a week. Now, that's nothing because some people do that in a day. I think it was Andrew Tate did 1,000 when he was in jail, or I think he did that. I think he might still do that. I don't know, but that's pretty good. I used to do 500, but that took like a long time. You know, it takes a while to do that many. You can't do them all at once. I mean, maybe some people might be able to. I don't know. So he says also, if you're good, it means you don't stop until you're great. If you're great, it means you fight until you're unstoppable. It means becoming a cleaner. You know, I'm assuming Beethoven was a cleaner. Mozart was a cleaner. Because when you look at their music, as it progressed, it just keeps getting better and better and better. You know, they were cleaners. Obviously, Michael Jordan was a cleaner. The closer does what he's supposed to do, gets the credit, and goes home a happy hero. The closer does that. You know, he just does what he's supposed to do. He does what's expected of him. You know, he might be a talented basketball player or football player, but he's not the closer. He's not the Tom Brady. Tom Brady's a cleaner. You know, he's the top of the top, like Michael Jordan was. And the author says, forget that. Think bigger. There's a level even higher, completely attainable, but so special that most people don't even dare to dream of it. A lot of people don't think they can do it. Now, you got to have some sort of talent first, I suppose, but it's beyond talent. There's something else there. You know, it's like your spirit latches on to this. You have to do it. It's your destiny, you know. So where else? Greatness makes you a legend. Being the best makes you an icon. If you want to be great, deliver the unexpected. If you want to be the best, deliver a miracle. Kind of reminds me of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. It's like he delivered a miracle. You know. So this, like he says, this isn't just in sports. Cleaners come from all walks of life. You know, even just the regular Joe out there doing his job. You know, he can be greater than what he thinks he is. You know, some of this is just self-esteem. It's your psychology. You know. So anyway, now if you just tuned in, which I don't even know. I don't know how to tell if anybody's watching. Anyway, I'm talking about this book here, Relentless. From good to great to unstoppable. You see? And I'm not editing anything like I would normally do. But, so he talks about Michael Jordan. And, you know, I always knew who Michael Jordan was. You can't escape him, I mean, I've known about him throughout my life. But I have a newfound respect for Michael Jordan. Something I had never thought. I mean, I never thought was possible, because I'm not a basketball fan. But Michael Jordan is something. He's on a different level, and he is spectacular, And if I had to, watch basketball, I mean, I don't watch it, but if I did, I would watch Michael Jordan, because what I've read about in this book makes me admire the guy. So he said about him and Michael, we'd be back in the locker room, champagne dripping down the walls, and he'd already be telling me what he needed to work on for the next season. This is after they won a championship. So Michael Jordan is talking about, hey, this is nothing. We got more to do, And he's never satisfied, never content, always pushing higher and higher. And I think Michael Jordan is a businessman now, and I think he's just doing kind of the same thing. I think he's like a 3-time billionaire. So he is a cleaner. And Tim Grover says that stardom doesn't automatically make you a cleaner. Winning does. You have to actually prove yourself. You have to actually do something. You have to win something. Whatever it is, you don't have to be Michael Jordan. You can be anybody. You can have wins, like, for instance, I had some teeth work done. And so I consider, now this is funny, kind of funny, I don't know. But I considered it a win that I didn't faint getting 4 or 5 shots in my mouth, because in the past I would, So I didn't faint. I was in good shape, Plus the fact that I was leaning all the way back, and then all the blood's rushing and oxygen rushing to my head. It's impossible to think like that. So Tim Grover says, a cleaner's attitude can be summed up in these 3 words. I own this. Those 3 words mean you're confident. I own this. I can do this. And it's not positive affirmation stuff. It's just belief, like, I got this. I'm going to do it. And that comes with a lot of work, a lot of training, a lot of exercise, whatever you're doing. It comes with that. It comes with expertise. It comes with, just knowing you can do it. And he said, you never know what he's going to do. The cleaner or Michael Jordan, one or the other. But something's coming, and all you can do is wait and watch with fear and respect for his ability to handle anything without discussion or analysis. He just knows. I mean, I wish I was one of these guys who just knew. But the only thing I can do that I think is spectacular in my own mind, and it might not even be, it's just writing music for words or film. I always wanted to be a film composer, and I did do a lot of it, but nothing major. But if I could say I have any kind of talent, that would be it for me right there. So the cleaner decides how to get the job done. They'll do whatever it takes. I mean, they will. It doesn't matter what it is. David Goggins, he is a cleaner. He'll do whatever it takes. I've read a couple of his books too. I mean, he was going through the Navy SEALs training. I think he busted his knees or something, or one of his knees. He duct taped the damn thing and still went through with it. That's a cleaner. That's a guy who would do anything to get what he wants. And even he says it in this book. Navy SEALs are cleaners. They lock in on their mission and stop at nothing to execute it. That is sheer determination. I like that. I wish I was more like that. Um, every accomplishment is just a stepping stone to the next challenge. It's like, oh yeah, if Beethoven had lived longer, he's like, oh yeah, I wrote the Ninth Symphony. All right, number 10. I'm going to do number 10. Number 10 is going to be even better than number 9. And you know what? He could have done that. And he probably would have. Or he would have done something else, gone off in a different direction, written 12-tone music or something that, was, 100 years in the makings. So anyway, um, most of their work is done quietly behind the scenes. That's another thing. Like Michael Jordan spent a lot of time alone. Sure, he had cameras around him at different times. He did endorsements and things, but a lot of his time was spent alone or with Tim Grover here. So it's in that quiet solitude that you become great. It's not when all these things are going on around you. You need to turn that stuff off. I need to turn that stuff off. But so anyway, all right, back to this. Let's see. He said most of their work is done quietly, behind the scenes alone, without fanfare or glamour. Cleaners don't do it for show. They don't go through the motions. A true cleaner never tells you what he's doing or what he's planning. You find out after the job is complete. And by the time you realize what he's accomplished, he's already moved on to the next challenge. It reminds me of Picasso. Picasso and Braque were working on all these paintings and stuff. I mean, they invented Cubism. And so Picasso was moving so fast, though. He was just on to the next thing. And he painted up until like almost 100 years old or something like that. And so he was always moving, and he was moving so quickly, so rapidly, that it was hard to keep up with this guy. So Picasso was a cleaner, just like Michael Jordan and these other guys. That's why we know about them. They took the extra something that was in them, whatever that extra something was, and just went with it, just went to the next level. So when something goes wrong, the cleaner doesn't blame other people. They don't say, no, it's his fault over there. No, they'll take the blame. Michael Jordan would, he'd say, yeah, I had a lousy game, or I did this, or I did that. He didn't blame anybody else. That's another thing I respect about that guy. So cleaners are rule breakers when they have to be. They only care about the end result. When things go wrong and everybody else starts to panic, the cleaner is calm and unflappable, cool and steady. That's like, I would say, the definition of an alpha male. A true alpha male. I'm not talking about a sleazy kind of guy or anything like that. I'm talking about a true alpha, like Michael Jordan. They don't panic. They do what needs to be done. They're calm. They never get too high or too low, never too happy or too depressed. But cleaners have a dark side and a zone you can't enter. He says that Michael Jordan was always in the zone. Nothing could knock him out of that zone. Other players had tried. There was a time when he was roughed up pretty bad by a team, and he never stepped out of his zone. He was always on. He was always with it. And that's amazing. It's just unbelievable. And so they get what they want, but they pay for it with solitude. And excellence is lonely. So really, to be great, you have to spend a lot of time alone working on whatever it is you do. If you're a musician, you should practice a lot. Prince, he died, I think, in 2016 or something. But I think everybody knows who he was. When he was young, he would practice music 4 or 5 hours a day. That you just work on the piano and go to the guitar. I mean, this guy practiced music constantly. He didn't go out and play. He was music 100% of the time. And even up until he died, he died on the elevator, I think, on his way to his studio to work on more music. That's all he did, you know. And sure, his music wasn't the best at the end of his life, but you know, he worked at it constantly. So you know, that's a cleaner. I would say Prince was a cleaner. Um, so they never stop working physically or mentally because it gives them too much time to think about what they've had to endure and sacrifice to get to the top. Cleaners are willing to die trying. They are. You know, David Goggins, he he would have died trying to become a Navy SEAL. I mean, there's no doubt about that. So cleaners can't be invented by media or hype. They're self-made. Michael Jordan, self-made. Michael Jackson, self-made. You know, um, the list goes on. There's a lot of cleaners out there, and you. The only reason you know these people is because they have risen to a level just like beyond the beyond. You know, they're just super amazing. Um, and so the cleaner is addicted to success. They really are. It's not really about the money anymore with the cleaner. It's just about success. You know, how can I top myself? Like Bill Gates probably thinks, how can I make more money than I made before? And it might not even be about greed. It might be, I don't know, but it might not be. It could just be a numbers game. He wants to top himself. You know, like Beethoven's Ninth Symphony was way more grand than all the symphonies before, even the Fifth Symphony. And so he wanted to top himself, you know, and that's where genius lies. Just the ability to go beyond what you did before, you know, and do it even better. Do it better than everybody else, usually. Uh, to be a cleaner in all respects is so you don't need to be relentless about everything. You don't have to be the best at everything. So Michael Jordan was probably not the best at everything. Like he wasn't the best at golf and baseball. That's a fact. You know, I mean, he was good, but he wasn't great. But he was great at basketball, and so that's what the author's talking about there. Now, I could go through this book, and I will go through a lot of it, but there's just so much to it that is just truly amazing. That's why I'm reading it the second time. Normally, I don't read books twice. I will talk about them, but it's usually just something I wrote out or from memory or something like that. And so, so Paula Blanchard, I see that now. It's down there. Hello. Maybe I don't know if you're still on, but anyway, that's the only person watching. I see you now. I was thinking like, who's watching? Now I know. Somebody can comment right there. And Paula Blanchard just commented. I don't know if she can hear me. Can you hear me? Are you still there? I don't know. So maybe you are. Okay. You can hear me. So back to the book. Let's see. Where should I go? Gosh, there's so many places to go. Oh, so he says the fact is you can't train your body or excel at anything before you train your mind. So you have to train your mind first. And that's the thing about lifting or doing push-ups and stuff like that. What I found is when I'm in the psychological zone, I can do a lot more. Sometimes double what I can normally do. But when I'm not in the zone, when I'm focused on something else, like last week I was focused on my dental issues, and so I wasn't really focused on the workout, I could see that it suffered. But you teach your mind to train the body. That's how it works. And so you get your mind strong so your body can follow. That's very important because a lot of times, let's say if you are lifting, say you're lifting something, and you do 8 reps one time, next time you do 12. It's because maybe you weren't as tired the second time, or you were in a zone. You were in the zone. and you did more. So like he says, teach the mind to train the body. And there's other things that are involved in this too. It's not just the actual exercise, but it's the diet and how you sleep, and maybe even what supplements you take. He says true work begins understanding what you want to achieve and knowing that you're willing to, what you're willing to do to get it, or what you're willing to endure to get it. And so that's important. What are you willing to endure? What are you willing to give up to get what you want? That's another thing, there's only so many hours in a day, and we have to sleep. And if you're an athlete, you have to obviously sleep. You have to recover from the workout that you did. He says his rules are show up, work hard, and listen. That's it. But if you don't listen, you're gone. This guy, he'll just like kick you out. He gets paid a lot of money to train these guys, but if they don't listen to him, he doesn't care. He would have done that to Michael Jordan. Said, "Are you don't want to listen? You're gone." That's what he's like, So I'm just kind of going through the book here, and I've underlined and circled things and made notes, but there's just so much, And he says, do the work every day. You have to find something you don't want to do, and like he says, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Think about that one. That's another sort of like David Goggins kind of quote. Doing the uncomfortable. Challenge yourself. That's what he says. Challenge yourself to be uncomfortable. Push past the apathy and laziness and fear. Fear has always kind of been an issue with me, but there are specific fears. My number one fear in life, well, no, maybe number two. Number one fear is probably heights. Number two fear is needles. And I'm thinking maybe it's like they're almost equal. I don't know. But anyway, needles bother me. So it's just how it is. My face is red right there. Anyway, back to this. So, all right, where was I? Otherwise, the next day, you're going to have to do two things you don't want to do. So let's say you have on Monday, there's something, it's hard, it's challenging, you don't want to do it. So you just say, forget it. Tuesday, you're going to have to do that plus something else uncomfortable, So get comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's not so bad. There are all kinds of comforts in life, obviously. There's plenty. But when you're working for something, when you want something, like Michael Jordan, there were times when, he probably didn't want to train, but he did it anyway. And he'd get mad at his teammates. He'd be like, hey, if they were trying to make an excuse to get out of the plane or something, he'd be like, I hurt all over, and we just lost or something, and he feels terrible. He played anyway. He played with the flu. So he says cleaners do the hardest things first, just to show up, just to show there's no task too big. Obviously, they have to show up, but so they might not be happy about it. They don't ever love it. A lot of these guys don't really just love to just do this all the time. They like the result, the end result, but they don't always love the process. It's just part of the deal. That's how you win. Like these, like he would make these guys take a cold bath in a cold tub, sometimes an ice bath. Whew, I know I wouldn't like that. And he says you have to crave the result so intensely that the work is irrelevant. It makes me wonder how many hours Michael Jordan put in. He said while people were celebrating, Michael Jordan or someone like Kobe Bryant, they were practicing. They were ready to do something great again. That's why they did great things over and over. I don't know if you know this, but Kobe died in a plane crash, I believe it was, or a helicopter, maybe it was. I'm not really sure. And so, anyway, let's go back to the book a little bit. He says you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So, there's just so much in this book, and there's a lot of repetition too. I'm almost done finishing reading for the second time. I'm right there. But there's another book called Winning, and there's another one he wrote about jump attack. That's probably another great one. I should probably get it, even though it is specifically about basketball. But you should read this book. Anybody out there? If you really want to be inspired to do whatever it is you want to do, maybe you're on the fence, maybe you don't think you can do something. And this guy just says, do it. Don't think about it. Just do it. Don't say, hey, I'll get started on Monday, or when he would work with some of his basketball player guys, and they were talking about losing weight, and as soon as he's hired, he's like, all right, you start right now. And if you don't want to start right now, you better have the biggest meal that you're going to eat for a long time, and because we're going to drop your weight. And that's what he would do. And this guy is tough. I don't know if I'd want him to train me for anything, because he'd probably kill me. But anyway, that's yeah. So I've made a 31-minute video so far about this book, and I didn't have to do any editing. I didn't have to cut out anything to make myself look smarter than I already am. Yeah, this is so much easier. I can just kind of talk freely. Normally, I'd write all this stuff out, probably, or write out a bunch of it, like 5 pages or more, and then sit in front of a camera, probably not a webcam, and just read off what I wrote or something, or some of it be memorized, and some of it would just kind of happen, spontaneously. I would just talk about things. But anyway, so yeah, Paula says I did great. And this is really my second live stream. I did one earlier, but I don't know if anybody watched it. But anyway, I mean, it's interesting that that somebody could see this online. I mean, I find it fascinating. I'm not the most technological person, and I don't know how the audio is on this. I have a Yeti mic, so I don't know what I need to hook that up. So I'll probably do that eventually. But this is really fun, just sitting here, just talking to whoever. I don't know. It just shows there's only one person watching, so I'm assuming Paula is the only one. Earlier, there was nobody on that thing. So anyway, that's all I got. And I'll do this again sometime for sure. All right, bye.